There has been a new wrinkle in the story of Jeffrey Epstein. That wrinkle is the possibility that Donald Trump sucked Bill Clinton's dick. Oh, yeah.
But first, breaking tonight, President Trump and his team are pushing hard on the concept of affordability. Today, the president signed an executive order to get rid of tariffs on a broad swath of commodities, including beef, coffee, and tropical fruits. It is a response to economic concerns that led to Democratic wins in off-year elections. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy starts us off tonight. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Shannon. And good news for travelers. The FAA has just lifted some shutdown-related flight.
What's this start about?
Ramping things up.
Okay, here we go.
Ted posting today at a top priority.
Taking regulations down so that developers can develop and builders can build.
Bubba was the name of Gilson Maxwell's horse.
President Trump is hoping to turn a news cycle about Jeffrey Epstein on its head. Posting today, Epstein was a Democrat, and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Ramping things up further, the president writes, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats.
Well,
some Republicans on the Hill broke with the president this week, joining Democrats on a petition to compel the Justice Department's release of additional Epstein files. But that doesn't mean those Republicans believe President Trump was an Epstein accomplice.
Do you think President Trump has something to hide here?
I don't, because I believe the women.
The Attorney General Pam Bondi saw
a lot of the women say that he wasn't involved.
President Trump's Truth Social post alleging that there were some Democratic ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and she has now announced a new investigation into those allegations. It's going to be led by Manhattan U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, and she says that his new investigation will be led with both urgency and integrity. Shannon.
All right, Peter Doocy at the White House.
Hunter Biden is applying the logic of his experience as a crack addict? Fucking based.
K-file, unearthing new and incredibly revealing
details
details
gonna run
about
for
Jeffrey
president.
Epstein and his opinions of Donald Trump.
I told you.
Someone that Epstein once called his closest friend for 10 years. The emails and text messages show that Epstein continued to be focused on Trump when he became president, questioning his sanity, psychoanalyzing him as someone who feels alone and might, quote, crack, even suggesting without explanation in one email, quote, I am the one able to take him down.
So he's saying this about Donald Trump? What the fuck?
Obviously, in the context of all of this, you want to know more there, but we don't have the context. The two men, of course,
how do you not have
were once extremely close. Several associates of both of them have told us.
I feel like it's pretty obvious what happened, right? I mean, like, they were friends and then they had a falling out. That's obviously what happened.
Over the past year, that they were the best of friends. Andrew Kaczynski of K-File is out front now with his new reporting.
Yes, it's pretty fucking
Andrew,
obvious.
you actually went through, and it's a lot. You get document dump like this.
Yeah.
You can word search, which actually was not easy in these documents because they were scanned.
Oh, the Elon,
But then you have to really try to read them. And you read through thousands of pages. What did you find?
That's right, Aaron. And after going through thousands of these newly released emails, there's a few things that quickly became clear to all of us. One is that Epstein kept bringing up Donald Trump long after Trump said their friendship had ended. His private comments about Trump.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's such an abstract thing to say, right? Because if you're saying that he brought up Trump after the relationship had ended, does that mean that he's talking about new things, or is he's talking about Trump in general? I think that's a misleading statement.
For the most part, remarkably negative and
Stop
harsh.
defending Pedo Don. Well, I just want evidence of it. That's all. Yeah, I just want evidence. I want the same thing that you do. I want all this information to come out, and I want anybody who was involved in this to go to jail forever. So I don't care whether it's Republicans, Democrats, independents, white people, black people, men, women. I don't really care. I just want to see everybody go to jail. So it doesn't matter to me, like, whether it is. But can't you see that, like, whenever you play these language tricks and you manipulate what's being said, you're running into a problem here. You're doing that. I want the swamp drained? Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what a lot of people voted for. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person that feels this way. I don't think that I am. I think actually most people do. Is that this is a bipartisan issue. I don't care who it affects.
And he sort of often cast himself as someone who understood the former president's mindset. Now, in messages in 2017 and 2018, he described him as, quote, effing crazy. You can see it right there, speculated he might have early dementia, called him a maniac, borderline insane. There was something where he compared him to a mob boss. There was something where somebody messaged him and said, Trump is truly stupid, to which he replied, duh. So, you know, one of the...
So he just sitting there chatting shit in the email about Donald the whole time while he's the president.
Emails that we found that was very interesting was this one to Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, in which Epstein harshly described Trump, writing, quote, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So, yes, dangerous.
And who's saying this? Jeffrey Epstein. Okay.
Another we found seemingly mocked Trump. It was a 2019 exchange in which a contact wrote, just met your friend POTUS, and he responded back, see if you still have your wallet.
To be fair, that's kind of funny.
And this one where he discusses his view of how Trump was handling the Russia investigation, Epstein wrote, your world does not understand how dumb he really is. He will blame everyone around him for the bad results.
I mean, it's really incredible when you go through this, right? And you realize how... You know,
so he just turned into a generational hater. So they must... You know what? This actually makes me think that they were actually pretty good friends. Because there's no way you're going to be emailing somebody years after the fact, still mauling out over it, unless you guys used to be boys. Yeah.
Files, how... You know,
like iDubbbz and H3H3, yeah.
Right, just the frequency with which Trump's name was mentioned. He was the subject.
The original TDS?
You know,
yes,
Trump,
bro. He was patient zero for TDS. Exactly.
Obviously has never been accused by law enforcement of any wrongdoing, and it's important to always note that when we're talking about this. But the emails do suggest that Trump was a recurring fixation for Epstein, right? He keeps talking about him. He keeps analyzing him. What kind of insight did Epstein claim to have into Trump, Andrew? And I say that in the context of the fact that we know for many years the two men were very close.
But like obviously he didn't, like Epstein clearly doesn't think that about Trump, because if he did, he wouldn't have been friends with him for all those years. So like, and then also like, oh, he just kicked you out of his club and now he doesn't like you anymore. I mean, like, I don't know, guys. Like, maybe it's true, but like, I certainly wouldn't take his word for it.
Very close. Trump had said in that New York Magazine article where he called him a, quote, terrific guy that they had been. He had known him for 15 years at that point, and that was in the year 2000. So going all the way back to the 1980s. And Aaron, what you see in these messages is that Trump did talk about Epstein as if he was someone he had special insight to, if he understood how Trump thought in a way other people didn't. He described Trump as impulsive, isolated, in his own words, quote, nuts and dangerous. Take a look at this 2018 email where they're discussing this Daily Beast story that suggested that Trump was having a mental breakdown. He wrote, he feels alone and is nuts, using 3 exclamation points. I told everyone from day one, evil beyond belief, mad.
I mean, this looks like your grandma got on Facebook and is talking about Obama, thinking that he's still the president. Really? This is some straight up fucking boomer language. What is this, grammar? Yeah, the guy, I mean, like, really, if I read somebody, like, if somebody typed this into my chat, I would be like, uh-oh, guys, we've got a retard. It's a big idiot here.
And most thought I was speaking metaphorically. It's obvious he could crack. Stormy Daniels, lies after lies after lies. He wrote in another exchange, he offered this assessment of Trump to someone who maybe was looking for insight into him. Donald is close to no one. He talks to many people. He tells each one someone.
That's kind of like, I don't know, that kind of goes hard, right? But like, he's close to no one. Well, if he's close to no one, then I guess then you weren't close to him, right? If you're saying this.
Something different. Now, Aaron, it's going to be, we'll still have to see, you know, are these emails going to change anything politically? But that vote is coming up next week where the House is going to report.
They've got to release these files, man. They do. They have to release these files. Like, it doesn't matter who's in them. It doesn't matter what happens politically. This has to come out.
Or vote on releasing the Epstein files.
It's crazy that there's even a single person, there's anybody who's against it. It's a shock.
To go to the Senate and be signed by the president. So this isn't going away.
You got generational pedo talking shit about you, probably a good thing.
More revelations keep happening.
Yeah, we will. And Garcia making it clear they're going to go back to the Epstein estate if for any reason Trump's called for investigation stymies
They
their
put
effort.
so much trust in a pedo. No, you're right. And like, I think that you're absolutely, like, I would not look at Jeffrey Epstein. I know this sounds crazy. I would not look at Jeffrey Epstein as a reliable narrator. Okay. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, Jeffrey Epstein said this. That means it must be true. Probably not. So, yeah, but at the same time, it's worth taking into account. It's worth reading and listening to, but I wouldn't just believe it.
At the DOJ. K-File, Andrew Kaczynski, thank you so much. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman just responding to President Trump's demand that he be investigated for his alleged involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Hoffman saying the move was a, quote, obvious ploy to delay release of the Epstein files, writing Trump should release all of the Epstein files, every person and every document in the files. Hoffman wrote in a thread on X, adding later, the call for an investigation is an obvious ploy to avoid releasing the files. Simply release all the files and expose the people who had both deep and ongoing relationships with Epstein.
I agree with that, by the way. I think that they should just release them. And if people get killed, or not killed, but like if people are in the crossfire of this and their collateral damage, like somebody gets put out there and it's like their name and, you know, they didn't do anything wrong, too bad. Too bad. That's what happens. Don't care.
Now, this is very significant.
Release them, black out the victims' names, and release it all. Yeah, that's my outlook. Release everything and just redact victims' names. That's it. What are the chances it's so bad that it can actually stop the world economy? Very low.
Does after Trump earlier today had come out and said that he wanted an investigation from his own DOJ into several individuals, all of whom were Democrats or with deep Democratic ties. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn and one of the biggest Democratic donors out there. Trump had repeatedly said he wanted investigations into Hoffman already, along with George Soros. Trump also mentioning Larry Summers and J.P. Morgan, as well as Bill Clinton. In his list, Pam Bondi immediately acquiesced and said she would do the investigation. Kristen Holmes is back with us. But Kristen, you know, you hear Reid Hoffman coming out, posting this online with his response, and Trump now answering questions on the Epstein emails, right? This big treasure trove that came out in the past 24 hours or 48 hours. Thousands of pages.
What if the operation was so huge that it's still ongoing and releasing all the files will let people off and screw up the investigation? I don't believe that. I mean, it's been 6 years since the guy died. So, like, what are we doing? Like, you're telling me that after 6 years, we haven't been able to find a single person? Like, come on, what's going on here?
His name is in them all over them.
I don't know, guys.
Congressman Garcia just said his name is in them more than anyone else's that Trump mentioned. So what is Trump saying now?
Well, Trump's name being in the files doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Like, Epstein is crashing out about Trump and they're not even friends anymore. So are you counting all the times that he's complaining about Donald Trump in his emails? Like, after they had already broken up, basically? Like, what is that? Like, it's so dishonest. Just release the files. We'll figure out who the weirdos are and arrest them. Like, the games that these people play are just so dishonest. It's unbelievable.
Well, President Trump has been answering questions about all of this, essentially saying that he believes that they being the Department of Justice, uncover all of the different relationships between Epstein and these various individuals. Obviously, Reid Hoffman, one of them. Yes. Larry Summers, one of them. Bill Clinton. I do think we just need to make it very clear that these investigations have already happened, not necessarily just into these individuals, but into Epstein as a whole, and ties that he had to a lot of prominent people. And these investigations that actually happened in the Southern District of New York found that they couldn't charge anyone else. And of course, this goes to
I think that's bullshit. I do. I think it's bullshit.
The whole thing.
And here's one of the reasons why I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit because new stuff keeps coming out. New stuff keeps coming out after they said they released everything. So how is it that new stuff keeps getting released after you already said you released everything? What's that?
We have been discussing, which is how can you say that this is a hoax, but then call for an investigation into a hoax?
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
I do want to note one other thing, Aaron, because we have been talking about this extensively. And just a reminder, I asked Carolyn Levitt about this in particular, and she said she'd get back to me, and we never did, which was about this MRI that President Trump said that he had. Now, I know this is a separate topic, but I do think it's really important because we've been covering it so closely, and we've never gotten answers from the White House on this. Essentially, he says that he doesn't know why he got an MRI. He was asked about it again, and then said that it was part of a routine checkup. Well, part of the reason that we've been pushing for answers on this MRI is because an MRI is not part of a routine checkup in general. And so now he's saying it was part of that kind of routine checkup, that he doesn't know why he got it. But again, this doesn't really give us the answers that we have been asking for.
It doesn't give you the answer that you want.
Health. And just a reminder,
that's what I think is going on.
That asked the doctors. Of course, we've reached out to the doctors. They're not going to answer us. They haven't. But then on top of that, he said he wanted to be transparent, but we still don't have any of these answers here.
I mean, people, there have been so many of these, like, pardon the play on words, trumped up ideas and panics about Donald Trump's health. I think that it was done a lot whenever Biden was the president and he was running against Biden in order to create a false parity between Biden's obvious mental decline and Trump. But right now, I don't think that, Trump, okay, maybe there's something wrong with Trump. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe he has cancer. Maybe there's some other big issue. Maybe it was an MRI. They needed to do that because he's the president and they do an extra level of testing for somebody who's the president. I don't know. It could be 50 different reasons.
In terms of his health.
Yeah, it's optics.
Well, I think those are really important things, and I'm glad you brought it up, Kristen, because
obviously
his 80s.
Trump's 79.
It also defies belief to think
but he'll be 80 soon.
Know the reason you got an MRI if you went in and got one. Mm-hmm. Kristen, thank you.
It's not anyone's business. I think it's important for people to know whether the president is physically capable of doing the job. I do. I think it's important to do that and to know that. But overall, I mean, a lot of these leaks and stuff, I don't really know. Epstein not commit suicide, no more on whataboutisms. Release the files, not the emails, the files. Time to release all the Epstein files. I think this is the way that a lot of people feel about this. I do. I think that overwhelmingly people think that this is there's something that's wrong. We don't necessarily know what's wrong, but something is fucking wrong. Let me see if I can find any of the see if there's anybody talking about this new topic, but I don't think so. Epstein says Donald Trump is gay. Yep. There we go, guys. And I don't know whether this is true or not, but there it is. So basically, there was an accusation, and one of the emails said that basically people think that Donald Trump Bill Clinton's dick. And I don't know whether that's true or not, but we're going to have to find out. First, LGBT president. Well, I thought about that, and it actually would have been Bill Clinton that was.